Hello everybody and welcome to episode 15 of The Witcher, Chaos on the Pontar, an actual play podcast made by Elsewhere and Beyond, run using the Witcher TRPG by R.Talsorian Games. Now, sadly we don't have Raz with us today who plays Arthwin, but rest assured he will be right back with us for next week's episode 16. So without further ado, let's get back to it. It is night time in the La Valette docks. The acolyte is very still and lapping in the water. It's a clear night. The stars are shining brightly. There are snores coming from below deck, where Arthwin is definitely not meditating. And the two of you, Oda and Vargen, you have your equipment out, your pouches, materials, supplies. Vargen is grabbing his bow, and the two of you are getting ready to depart and go and meet Abrava.
I've never seen a sorceress at work, so that should be quite interesting.
There's hope it'll be enlightening, if nothing else.
You'll hear a door very creak a little bit, but very certainly be opened. No one said anything. There's a bit of like, and then you'll just hear the door like close again. He's trying to be stealthy, but that's it.
Just this pitter-patter of like, well, anyone else would think of like duck feet on like wood, like flap, 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 flap. And then eventually you just see, we're not establishing in the lore here that Gorm has duck feet, by the way. That's not what we're doing. But,
is it like a platypus?
That would be adorable, but no.
Gorm is not a platypus.
Oda, Vargen, you see this rotund silhouette in the gangway of the barge, just slightly silhouetted by the torchlight and candlelight behind him.
Gorm kind of ducks down, hoping not to be seen. But he's very clearly there.
You can go ahead and... Okay, well, fine.
Are you going to make him roll for stealth?
I kind of want to. At a -5.
Do it.
At a -5.
-5 stealth.
20.
Ooh. What?
He critically succeeds. This is why I wasn't going to roll stealth.
Oh boy.
Awareness from both of you.
Okay.
19, not enough from Vargen. And Oda,
15.
There is a loud, and you think to yourself, oh, maybe Barksley just rolled over, in the hallway. Anyway, so you get back to your preparations. Gorm, what are you doing now that you're fully stealthed?
Gorm's just kind of laying down on his belly, like kind of trying to be like a Navy SEAL or something.
More looking like a seal, probably.
Commando crawl.
Commando roll, Vargen.
But like every time he moves, you can very clearly hear like the clanking of like his shield and his mace bumping against stuff. So it's just like bumping going on. So
as he gets closer, you do eventually hear him, regardless if he critically succeeded with a 20 or not. Dear. And then you two are just preparing, and like just in the middle of the deck of the mess hall, like lower deck, there's just this lump of fur just lying there, fully armored and equipped, ready to go out.
Oda looks up from her work of rearranging her herbs and vials on her belt and whatnot laid out on the table. Just looks up for a moment, looks directly in Gorm's direction, grins, and then continues to go back to work, like pretending not to see him. And then Oda gives Vargen like a little nod in Gorm's direction.
Vargen turns to look down towards Gorm, splayed out on his belly, wondering why he's giggling to himself. Should we tell him?
I think we should wait a little longer.
To what end?
I want to see what he's up to. Now I'm curious.
A few more seconds pass, and Gorm, you're an absolute master of this.
He's just going to lay there and wait until they leave.
Okay, well, eventually you guys do gather all your belongings, and I imagine the two of you would turn, correct, in order to start leaving?
Right. I imagine Oda just rolls up her stuff, attaches her belt pouches and everything, and then moves to leave the ship and just steps over Gorm.
Gorm will just be entirely still. I mean, as still as he can. He's still kind of shuffling a little bit.
And Vargen, you're leaving as well, I imagine.
Yeah, he's gonna pack up all the stuff. Look directly down at Gorm this time. If you want to come with us, you're allowed to say so.
Gorm not here!
Well, maybe you can give the message to Gorm then. Tell him that he's free to come with us if he wants to.
Gorm's sleeping.
Then who are you?
Hi, Mr. Vargen. And Gorm just kind of, he gets up, pushes himself up, and kind of smiles up at Vargen. Gorm, you need protection. Gorm, come with you.
I'll feel safer with you nearby, that's for sure.
Me too.
Oda not see Gorm.
Well, he follows along behind as you all make your ways up the stairs, and Sansa just rocking in her hammocks, kind of sleeping with one eye open, if you know what I mean. Enough to stir to see you all pass, and she goes, "Good luck. Come back in one piece." Outside, the night is still and dark. The sky is clear, and the world quiet. From the deck of the barge, you see the simple candlelit glows of the homes up and above you, winding upward toward the castle sat over the cliff. The streets are empty, save for the odd patrolling guard, and your attention is stolen by the figure standing by the centre mast of the barge. Abriva is here, hooded and garbed for discretion. "That is an interesting enchantment," she mutters to herself.
She's on the barge, yeah?
She's on the barge.
Well, clearly it did not work on you.
Unless I'm mistaken, to ward away evil intentions.
I guess that says something about you then. And then Oda gives the salt lions a quick once-over to check if they're all intact still.
You take only a couple of seconds to realise they're perfect.
Okay.
They're all intact.
Yeah.
And she even walked over them in a way not to scuff them or damage them. And she actually looks back at you, all of you, and says, "That was a very smart idea. You know, there's a thing or two to still be learnt about the ancient archaic magics. Very classic. Very romantic."
Hi, cupboard lady! And Gorm rushes up to hug her leg.
Oh. And she takes a step back, sort of just arching her head away. Does he do this often?
I think he likes you. It's a positive thing.
Gorm releases her leg and steps back again. Big smile on his face.
Well, I'm glad somebody is smiling. I'm afraid there's been a slight change of plan. She looks to you both, and not to cause offence, Gorm, she mostly keeps eye line with Vargen and Oda, considering they seem the most compliant and competent two people here.
How dare you?
How dare you? Though I had planned to meet you by the River Arch Bridge, I'm afraid things have become complicated. Rumour has it, if it is to be believed, that a single witch hunter has been allowed into the settlement. I could not risk open confrontation with such a dangerous adversary out there. Our mission remains. I need to perform this ritual. But now we must travel between the back alleys and the narrows of the houses. And she says, "Here, you two, I brought cloaks to help you blend in a little. I don't know what to do for you, though." And she looks down to Gorm, who is a werebub.
Well, luckily Gorm has just proven us a mere moment ago.
Gorm is very stealthy, yes.
Well, she hands both you and Vargen, Oda, she hands you both some long cloaks to wear.
I need to get a fake beard for Gorm so he just looks like a weird dwarf.
Maybe Oda can craft it.
Shave everything except your snout.
No.
You could go down and
yeah.
shave the Witcher. You could take the Witcher's beard off. He's sleeping. He wouldn't know.
That'd go over well.
Yeah, that would.
Am I right to assume then that the guards at the gate weren't successful in warding off these witch hunters?
Witch hunter.
Oh.
I do not know how. Merchants and the sort come through all the time. But Temeria has been very adamant on not taking part in King Radovid's hunts. I do not know why one was let through, but what I do know is they will be armed with the equipment needed to hurt us, and possibly worse.
Unfortunately, we have experience with what they can do.
It's fine, cupboard lady. We already killed witch hunter. We kill them all. It's fine.
She looks very concerned to Gorm, and then back to Vargen, and then to Gorm. I was hoping we didn't kill anyone tonight.
Oh, witch hunts are very bad.
It was not on my agenda either.
Perhaps, Gorm, we could avoid that.
No, okay.
Will your enchantments hold after we leave?
They should hold fine.
All right, let's go. And she stops and she pauses. I have an idea. Gorm, come forward a little bit.
Okay. Gorm hops up to her.
She taps your forehead just once. You suddenly receive what's this lovely bonnet of brown hair that comes down, like made of your own fur, and it's kind of like a Shakespeare wig. You know, Shakespearean wig comes down with like curls and everything, and then you get a lovely long mustache and a goatee that grows super long.
Oh my gosh.
Gorm smiles very widely. He's like, oh, Gorm's so handsome.
It will not last long, a few hours at most. Perhaps it will make you a little less recognizable.
And Gorm just kind of strokes his new hair.
Is that a thoughtful post? Whenever you do thoughtful things now, you just stroke the goatee.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Sage advice.
The group, you alight, you head down the plank, and you begin to walk your way up the slow incline. And you pass across the street into a mass of buildings. Right, who is going to pretty much go ahead and always be up front and making awareness checks for what is going on as you pass through this maze of buildings that make your way to the bridge?
I assume it's going to be the lady that knows the way.
I mean, she can do it if you'd like her to.
If she's willing to tell Vargen where to go, he doesn't mind going first.
She gives you some simple instructions. Vargen, could you go ahead then, please, and make me an awareness check?
I can try.
Oh, Vargen. Well, I mean, it's still a 14. You did fumble, but it was still comes to a 14, which is actually fairly good. I will say with a roll like that, then you can go ahead and roll me a d6.
D6.
Oh dear.
Was this a random encounter?
A journey that has adventures along the way. The party slink into the shadows, going between the barrels and boxes and wagons that line the road, and very quickly making their way across. You immediately find shelter in the shadows between the buildings. The warm glows of candlelight coming through. Many people of what is left of the buildings after the siege have put blockades across the glass, or they have fabrics and curtains closed. You just see gaps of light where you can, but it's just enough to see where you're going. Vargen, as you are leading the party, you start to hear down the alleyway, this tight alleyway, which you could just about put elbow to elbow out in both directions. You know, you can get a single file down it. And when you get to the end, you can see there's a small opening where there's some back doors and a very small well where people would collect water. And you can hear a woman crying.
That is very unfortunate for the Madam in tears. We need to go through here, don't we?
You can see the woman is knelt down next to an older man, looking a little worse for the wear. He's tucked up into a bedroll. The two of them are sat outside the back door of a house that's been completely ruined. And they have their belongings out here on the steps, everything they have left. Very, very meager few things. And you can see that they have a few rations left. The woman sobbing, she looks up. She goes, "Hello? Who's there? Who is there?
It's just Gorm.
Have any of you any medicine? My father, he's very sick. Please help us."
Oda steps forward and lifts some of the hood away from her face, kneels down beside the woman and her father.
You can see that the man has a very badly injured arm, a gash from up at the bicep running down past the elbow into the forearm, and it's smelly, and it looks sticky. It definitely doesn't look good. The man himself appears to be in his late 60s.
Is he like feverish?
He looks a little feverish. His brow is sweaty. He looks hot, and she's trying to huddle him up in everything she can. He comes to kneel back down again now that you've approached. "Please, we don't have much. I can't lose my father. He's my only family left. Please, is there anything you can do?
Gorm is going to reach into his many bags of tricks and pull out a little vial of sterilizing fluid. Gorm has this.
She looks like she's trying to see if she might have to drink it or...
And Oda moves to take it from her. That's very helpful. Thank you, Gorm.
You're welcome.
Can I roll an old ways or a medicine check to see like what kind of stage of infection or whatever this?
You can use the old ways in place of any first aid check.
27.
27 is an incredibly good roll. My goodness, you crit.
Yeah.
Goodness, it's either crits or fumbles already.
Yep.
The man's arm is in a terrible state. The fever is pretty devilish, and he'll be lucky if he gets out of this with his life.
Oda tilts her head and looks at the woman. What is more important to you, his arm or his life?
I want him to live.
Of course.
He's a carpenter. He needs his arms. Is there anything you could do?
Oda shoots her gaze to the mage and her father.
Magical healing is not my forte.
I look at the woman again and I stand up from the father. And I try to approach to take, if she lets me, take her like palms into my hands.
You notice how gaunt this woman is. She is fragile and thin and malnourished. She's very sick.
There is something more that I can do. But you must understand that these are dangerous times for us too. And there are risks.
Whatever you can do, please help us.
I look her straight into her eyes. Can I trust you? This needs to stay between us.
Okay, I agree.
I want to cast a magical healing on him, or a blessing of healing. Unless, like, doing something with the old ways would work as well. Like, but I wanna...
The old ways is very good for setting wounds. But this, we've determined this is a little bit beyond poultices and sprinkling of herbs and things.
Absolutely, okay.
For an injury this bad, you're looking at about DC 14 on a spellcasting check.
I will use 2 luck.
That's a really good roll. That's 19. I will inform you that you need to do multiple rounds of healing. So mark off 4 points of stamina and then an additional 9 more points after that.
Ooh. Does the sterilizing fluid, it says healing rate +2 with that 8 here?
That's going to dramatically help the man recover afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, so I plan to do the spell, like lay the groundwork, and then like clean up his wounds and maybe apply like a salve or something, but we'll see. So total of 18 stamina reduced, right?
Correct,
right?
It's a lot.
Okay.
And I'm going to inform you that's not recovering anytime soon. Interestingly enough, Oda, this is the first time you've ever performed a healing spell. So do you want to describe to us a little bit just how your character, what's her process when she's healing somebody?
I would say that it's more holistic. So
Is it more like an unseen force? So it's like she places her hand on his brow and there's this sound.
and yeah,
of a
and there's like
heartbeat.
I imagine something like that gets louder, and then maybe there's some like smoky and wispy magic. Yeah.
This familiar sight, and we saw this when you were controlling animals, you know, when you were aiding. This beautiful wisping, almost ethereal, ghostly energy. There's just a bit of it, just from your eyes and from your mouth and from your fingertips, just surrounds you, and it's almost a transference of vigor, a borrowing of energy, a kind of like a jump starting their own healing. This is a very powerful immediate effect, and you can see his arm is already knitting up and binding up. The infection has run very deep. Oda, you have managed to save his arm, and you've saved his life. However, he will not work as a carpenter again.
Gorm claps and he's just like very bright-eyed and smiling. Oh, very good. See, Vargen, Oda makes nice spell too.
The old man kind of lays over, exhausted, and the woman gets up whilst Oda is still working on the old man. I don't have much, but I would like it if you took this as a gift for helping us. And she passes you a thick, bound leather book.
What is within those pages?
You immediately take a look, and you find that it is a lifetime of notes and diagrams for all of the novice level crafting diagrams in the game.
Thank you. It's very generous of you to offer this to us.
I'm sure my father would agree. He won't be needing this anymore. Please look after it.
We will.
Gorm's gonna hop up to the woman and reach his hand into his little coin pouch and just pull out 24 crowns and give that to her. Here you go. Have little money to her. Keep secret. Keep safe.
She keeps it secret. She keeps it safe. She takes it willingly and thankfully. And she must now go and see the head of her order. He is both white and purple. She takes it carefully and holds on to it and looks up at the stars. And there's that hope. There's that first glimmer of hope that you have seen in anybody's eyes since you arrived here. I will not forget this. Thank you. And she sits down with her father and she pulls the bedroll up and the blankets and gets him warm again.
I remember that this must stay between us, Oda says as she pulls her hood back up.
You have my word.
I nod and I give her just a gentle brush along her shoulder.
You can continue going now. Abraver would tell you it's a left, Vargen. We've got to go through here. There's a bit more of an opening, but if we're quick, we'll be all right. Okay, Vargen, would you go ahead and roll me another awareness check?
Oh boy.
Oh,
that's a very good one. I will let you roll me a d10 this time.
8.
You pass through and across the road one last time as you move around the back of some more buildings. But as you pass through another narrow alleyway, you come upon a rather difficult sight, and you come to a small archway with a metal gate. In front of the gate is an old man, a bottle of something drunk in his hands, his scraggly rough beard, his hair over his eyes, and he's propped up against the gate on his back, slumped down before it, murmuring to himself. And you need to get through that gate. Protest, you plowing horse. And he takes another sip from his drink.
Oh, we could wait for him to pass out drunk at the rate he's drinking.
just go through door, Mr. Vargen. Just open door.
Do you believe that to be wise, Gorm?
Gorm, very wise. Yes.
So Vargen, are you inching closer?
He's gonna look to sides of the path first before he does.
There is some old jars smashed, and it's a simple alleyway with a single gate in front of you. To go back is a little while away. To go forward, you can see what you need on the other side of the gate. There's not a lot going on here. Some old splintered bits of wood, some old broken barrels and crates.
He's gonna do as Gorm says and just go and try to open the door.
I would like you to roll beneath your dex stat.
Oh my god.
Ooh, you were very, very lucky. You lurch your arm back quickly as this old vagabond just swooshes out with what appears to be a kind of shivved down bit of wood. Get away from me! Go away!
He knows drunken kung fu.
What do you want with me? I've got nothing! I've got nothing!
Sit down.
You can go ahead and roll me an intimidation check. Ooh, 21. Okay. He doesn't quite sit, but he does perch himself in front of the gate. What more can you not take from me?
We're not here to take anything from you. We're moving through. Passing through.
This is my home now. This is where I live. You're passing through my home.
Warren looks down in the gutter, frankly, for what it is. What makes you desire to stay here?
In case she comes back.
Who?
His lip begins to wobble. Why do you care? Why?
He's going to lower himself to like his eye level, as he normally has to do, because I want to know. Please tell me.
My daughter. She went out to the sanctuary house outside the castle. Get away from Foltest. They do awful things when they siege. Awful things to pretty women. My beautiful daughter hasn't come back.
How long's he been gone for?
And you see he struggles with that. His eyes flare for a moment as he thinks about it. She ain't come back since the siege.
Oh, no.
And he just sort of catatonic stare into the nothingness past you, Vargen, looking right over your shoulder. This man in a hideous state of just constant psychological trauma.
Gorm will tug at Oda's leg or her robe and be like, Oda no spell to make forget.
Unfortunately not. He must deal with his pain himself.
If Gorm give you 20 crowns, will you let us through?
How would your money help me? Oh, I don't need your money.
Oh. What do you need then? What do you need? Go and get what you need.
You can't get my daughter back.
Oda and Vargen do illusion thing to make him see daughter now, okay?
I'm afraid I don't have that kind of power, Gorm.
Oh, you do dead people spell. You make him come back to life now, daughter, okay?
The man's looking more and more disturbed and quite agitated as Gorm is talking. And he starts to stand up now in the gate, and he's holding that little shiv as hard as he can. And now he's looking down at himself. And he looks at you, Vargen, and he stares at your equipment. You're quite a well-equipped fella. I believe you have a sickle sheathed on your belt, don't you?
I was also given an extra large cloak to hide me.
You were.
I'm just a large guy, yeah.
With a very impressive beard.
Very good beard. He passes you the wooden shiv.
Mm-hmm. He goes on to accept it.
Do it. I don't want to see another sunrise. And I can't seem to do it for myself.
Okay, at those words, Vargen is going to backhand him. Very roughly. How dare you say such a thing? You think your daughter would want that? He's going to grab him by the, I don't know what this part is called, collar?
The collar, yeah, ruffs of his rags, yeah.
Yeah, and sort of intentionally put him off to the side so the gate will be open. And then he's going to very firmly try to get a very stern eye contact by grabbing his chin.
And you hold him there and you have his full attention.
Don't you dare give up on your own life. If she's gone, that's twice the reason for you to move on. For you to live. Live the life she was denied in the end.
Go ahead and make me a leadership roll.
Oh,
that I'm really good at.
You get a +3 to this.
Then 21.
With your hand firmly on his chin, holding his attention, you feel the warm splash of a tear on your fingers. Here, take these. She wanted me to keep them, but I have no use for trinkets and heartache any longer. He thrusts his hand out to you, Oda, offering 2 well-crafted silver rings. Do you take them?
Of course.
Alright. Vargen is going to now pull him into an embrace.
And you do pull him in, and you realize now just what a bag of bones this old man is. And you're strong. You're a strong, healthy man, but it's like you could lift him 5 or 10 times over. And you just hold him into you for a moment, and there's no warmth coming out of him. And he holds you back just for a moment, but very weakly.
I promise. You'll find out what happened to her.
Don't make the mistake I did. Hold on to what you love. And he pulls the gate, and he wasn't holding it open for you. He's using it for support. But the gate is wide open. Okay, so Oda, the rings that you currently have in your possession, usually I will make you roll for something. But today, taking into account your naturally high stats in your intellect and your other kind of exploratory skills, I will read out a little bit of lore for you. These ornate silver rings are magically bonded to each other, allowing the wearers to communicate over great distances and sense when their partner is in danger. It is said that the original pair was crafted by a Nilfgaardian mage, who crafted the pair for her lover, a witcher on the path. The diagrams for these rings were taken from her dwelling when she was found to have disappeared. Some say she left abruptly after sensing her lover was in danger and never returned. It is rumoured that her creation is now widely used by Nilfgaardian spies.
Ooh.
But yeah, the man holds the gate for you and gives you just a moment, and you just peer down at these rings. You've heard of these before.
They're beautiful. He gives the man a nod before walking through the open gate.
Abrava, who has been keeping a step back, she just nods to the old man. Thank you. And follows right after Vargen.
Oda does the same.
Well, Gorm follows too, but he just slips the guy 20 crowns as he passes.
You leave the old man behind, and you pass across the street, making your way out onto the great arch that spans over the freshwater inlet that drains out onto the River Pontar. The sound of water can be heard far down below, many, many meters below. You can hear crickets in the darkness and owls in the distance. And breaking that silence, a horrifying, deep wail of a single word somewhere out on the battlefield. It cries. Without hesitation, Abrava passes across the stone bridge, a width wide enough for any horse-drawn carriage. She strides toward the end, to where the fog forms a distinct wall, to where the bridge ends and the battlefield begins. Come, we do not have long. I will prepare the ritual with your help, and perhaps you will learn something.
What if Gorm want to learn?
Gorm, I do not mean to cause offense, but this is not for you.
Besides, we need you to protect us, Gorm.
You
need to stand watch for us. Make sure
Gorm is great at this. Gorm could do this, yes. And he pulls out his mace and his shield.
Good.
And he just kind of stands there, looking around.
Abrava sets to work, and over the next half hour or so, she methodically goes through the process of pouring oils, lighting candles, cutting ribbons and tying them carefully. Words are spoken, some of them by her and others by you two. She takes care to carefully demonstrate the ritual to you, teaching it to both of you as she goes, and then, with a final word of intention and a gesture of thumb and finger, the candle lights itself. You see and feel the fog roll back, and the air around you feels clear, clean and light. The fog that was beginning to creep is pushed back, further into the battlefield from whence it came. There. That should hold for tonight. Now, do you think you could do that again if you needed to?
If we had all the components, I believe so, yes.
You know, I've given it some thought. I think I will travel south. It's safer than Redania, and besides, I plan to... A sudden whistling soars through the air, followed by the hefty thud as an arrow lands deeply in Abrava's clavicle, close to her throat. Her face is awash with horror. She pales and begins to slump down to the cold floor, only a few meters away from where the wall of fog retreated to.
I rush forward to, catch her in my arm, right?
All right, you soften her landing as best you can, but for the rest of you, your attention is stolen away by a mad and manic cackle coming from the end of the bridge, the side you entered from. A flash of flame from the sign of Igni illuminates the witcheress known as Astrid Blindeye, the mad woman from the cells back in Novigrad. The torches spanning down the bridge on either side set themselves ablaze, illuminating the archway to you all and setting the stage for this arena of death she has chosen for you. Vargen! Fancy meeting you here. I've come for your head, Vargen, and I ain't leaving without it. She knocks another arrow onto her bow, and I would like everybody to roll for initiative. First off, a quick message to our viewers on YouTube. Make sure to keep up with the action as it happens right now on screen with our animated battle map. At the top of the round then, she is going to shoot for you again, Vargen. Even from this side of the bridge, you recognize the bow she's drawing. You see the smooth, ancient wood it's made of, the mystic runes carved into it. I would like you to please defend against a 21.
He's gonna try to more or less sidestep off to the side, failing to do so.
20 is just shy. You are struck in your left leg, taking 22 points of damage. Now, of course, make sure to reduce that against your armor first, and then half the damage because of target location. And make sure to reduce your SP on that piece of armor, please.
Yeah, 1 stopping power.
Yes, correct. Astrid is going to confidently walk 8 meters down the bridge, using her movement to approach you. Ooh! I can smell the blood from here. Gorm, you witnessed this attack, and you're up next. What are you going to do?
No, Vargen, friend, no! You witchy woman! You attack Gorm instead, okay? And I'm gonna roll feats of expertise first.
I guess you're using your profession ability?
Yes.
Okay, so Gorm is playing our homebrew profession, the Mercenary, which you can find over on our website at elsewhereandbeyond.com. Now, the skill in question, named Feats of Expertise, reads a little like this. When wielding a weapon of choice, the mercenary may forego their movement to roll feats of expertise. This marks the target in their cone of vision with a dex plus 10 lower than this result. The mercenary may spend additional stamina to enhance their attacks against marked targets. The mercenary must declare which feat they applied to an attack before rolling it. Now, you've rolled a 19, and that is a success. Is there anything else you would like to do this turn?
Not really gonna do much else, because I'm not a ranged one, so let's just move on.
Oda of the Old Ways. You're currently holding Abrava of Lyria in your arms. The mage looks pale, her garments are covered in blood, and an arrow sticks from her collarbone.
Okay, I want to drag Abrava over to the wall to sort of sit her against that. And can I do like a first aidy thing to at least stabilize the wound?
Stabilizer?
Yeah,
Yep,
please.
no problem. Now, not to put you under too much pressure here, Oda, but there will be a difficult skill check to come.
Okay.
If you fail this check, she will die.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, you make it with the Old Ways check of 23, which, again, to our listeners, is the Witcher's equivalent of healing hands. It's a special skill they can do in place of first aid. Now, Oda, considering the severity of the injury, I'm going to say this probably takes the rest of your turn to stabilize. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Vargen, you have been shot at multiple times now, and Astrid appears to be hunting you down specifically.
He's going to look down to his wounded leg, arrow jutting out of it. Going to pull his own, a little, frankly, much less impressive bow than the old bow he used to enjoy having, that his other witch now has. This is not to classify her profession, more than her hag-like nature.
That's brilliant, I love it.
And then he's going to cast Gwen to protect himself, as she's going to keep walking closer and shooting arrows at him.
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll spellcasting.
So I can spend up to 7 stamina, I believe, and I have a focus level of 4.
Uh-huh.
Which means I'm paying 3 stamina?
Yeah, you are, for a 35-point shield.
This would be an extra action since I took out my bow first.
Sure, yeah, that's true, but it's okay though, because you're just trying to beat a DC 10 when casting Gwen. Which you easily do. So you now have a beautiful golden shimmer of energy around you, which has and always will represent safety to you. That's your action, your extra action. You do still have your movement.
Just going to step here then.
Okay, so you take a step back, no problem. At the top of a new round then, Astrid moves closer, moving roughly 6 meters away from you all. The dirt-eating grin on her face is only partially matched by the madness in her remaining good eye. This is no fun, Vargen. There's nothing at stake. I'll make a wager that your daughter kills you before I do. Astrid raises her hand and perverts a dark sigil of Axie in the air before her. The sign burns hot with chaos. An Oda of the Old Ways, I would very much like you to resist magic.
Okay, bring it on. B-word.
Oh my god, against a critical 36.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
dear
goodness,
Lord in heaven.
Leo, why? Okay, I can do this. No, I can't. I really can't. Oh, it's 28! Holy shit!
That's not so bad. That's not so bad.
You manage to score your own crit, but alas, it is still not enough. Now, I'm going to do something that every game master loves, that every player pretends to hate.
Possession? Oh, no! No!
Yes, for the next 3 rounds, Astrid Blind Eye has you under her power.
Or unless I resist magic up to 36, yeah.
Well, stranger things have happened. I mean, it is possible.
Okay, yeah.
So, Astrid is going to turn towards you, Oda, and there's this manic flicker of joy upon her sadistic smile. She gestures a finger directly towards Gorm. Time to kill your friends!
You're as dull as you're ugly. Oda's not a physical threat to Gorm.
Oh, is the big old druid getting angry? You took my eye, Vargen! You will pay for it! Finishing up her turn then, I think Astrid will fire one more arrow at Vargen.
I'm gonna reposition to the right.
You sidestep away from her shot with a reposition of 27. It's a very high roll indeed. Nobody fights a Witcher. Nobody does it and lives to tell the tale. But it's this or die, right? At the end of Astrid's turn, Gorm, it comes to you.
I'm going to use charge, and I'm going to infuse it with feats of expertise, goad, which costs 1 extra stamina and will force her to attack him the next round.
Okay, very nice indeed. Go ahead then and roll for your attempt.
Yes, 23.
Ooh, 23, very nice. That's a great roll for a charge, considering it's theoretically a strong strike. Astrid doesn't have her sword out, so she won't be parrying or trying to block you. Instead, Astrid will attempt her own reposition as she attempts to try and move out the way of your path. She rolls a 19. Your charge is successful.
Where did he hit her?
I'll roll location.
Head. It's over. Good job, Gorm.
What?
Guys, I'm not even kidding. This is not the first time this has happened.
Maybe the damage. Oh my god.
That is a total of 44 damage to the head. Goodness gracious me, that's incredible. Wow. Okay, Gorm. Would you explain to us and the listeners how you magically transform this complex boss fight into a trivial 2-round encounter?
Get our friends! And Gorm just kind of raises both his shield and his mace above his head, and they kind of flail in the air, and he just runs forward. And I guess he's running in her bad eye line of sight or something, because he doesn't see him charge forward. And then he just swings his mace as high as he can, aiming for her other eye, and he just smacks as hard as he can.
So it would appear that Astrid Blind Eye underestimated the werebub. Out of nowhere, he found the speed to reach her, and before even she, a skilled Witcher of the Path, could retaliate, his mace finds her good eye, smashing it and the orbital bone around it deeply into her skull. The woman's neck cracks as it turns a full 90 degrees to the right. Her hands release her decorated longbow, and her body falls limp where she stood. Astrid Blind Eye is no more, and the Witcher is dead.
What?
You know, I kept telling myself throughout that fight, Leo, cast Quen. You need to cast Quen each turn. And, you know, actually, I think that translates now quite nicely into her own arrogance, considering how she died.
Oh my god.
Well, Gorm Hobbswin is better Witcher than you.
So I snap out of the spell then, right? Or
No.
Oh,
no, not at all. It's
okay.
actually a persistent effect.
Okay.
And if anything, you are now actually enraged that these people just killed your master. Which works out pretty well for us, because combat continues until you've been dealt with or subdued. It is your turn, Oda. You're furious. What are you going to do?
And you were commanded to attack Gorm.
Is this very like vow magic that it's sort of like a violent control, or is it a lot more subtle than that? Like how?
It's a lot more subtle than that, yeah, absolutely. It's almost as if you've always cared for Astrid. You've always been her friend. You've always been the center of her universe, and she's been the center of yours.
Okay.
But it is the beginning of your turn, so you can go ahead and resist magic again against the 36.
20.
20, it's not enough.
Oda, let's go with Aberva. And this sort of like weird rage and shock settles in her eyes, and her hands are like, you know, totally trembling and shaking in this like shock and anger. As she just pulls out her ritual dagger and turns and sprints towards Gorm. Just struggles to get up and then just sprints with her dagger forward.
Now, Gorm hasn't seen you in a while, so you'll gain a +3 to striking him from behind. I would also like you to make this a strong strike, as you're not holding back.
Yeah, probably like somewhere where I know his armor doesn't.
Oh, does that mean you're aiming for the head then?
Yeah.
Right. You critically succeeded! Oh, okay, but that just brings it to a 10. I mean, I guess that goes to show you're not that good with daggers, which is, all things considered, probably a good thing right now.
I'm not scary.
I think it's gonna be like something of an involuntary dodge and escape. He's just kind of hears something coming up behind him, and he's just gonna kind of
Oda's just trying to do like a, you know,
stab you in the back, basically.
Yeah.
Lovely.
22.
Well, that is more than enough to dodge her attack. You feel Oda right behind you. You can hear her voice, you can smell her scent, and you can hear the whoosh of metal as you catch it just out the corner of your eye, moving over the top of your head. Something's not quite right.
Do I turn around now, or do I still look away?
Normally, no, you wouldn't. But actually, for the sake of this moment and being a little different, I will say yes.
Okay. Oda, friend, what are you doing?
Now, Vargen, it comes to you, and you've just watched your daughter chase after Gorm and then try and attack him.
Well, he's going to call out for her, like just running after Gorm. He assumes, she's probably just going to hug him, pulls knife. Maybe she's just going to show the knife. Then she starts there like, no, Oda, stop it. What are you doing? He's going to run up after her, so just try to wrap his arms around her upper arm so she can only get this like little awkward, I don't know, got like penguin arms.
Penguin binding arms. Oh, you mean, you're trying to grapple her down like a big bear hug.
Yeah.
All right, okay, go ahead and roll brawling for that. Oda, what's higher for you, brawling or dodge and escape?
Dodge or escape.
Okay, you roll that then, Oda, and let's see what we get. Oh, Vargen, you managed to succeed. Okay, that's a 20 versus a 17. Okay, so Vargen, by wrapping your arm tightly around Oda's shoulders and another around her face and neck, you subdue your daughter away from Gorm. And for the sake of brevity, I'll go ahead and say that some time passes. She thrashes around on the ground as you pin her down, and eventually, Oda, you go still. This brings combat to an end. Oda, you feel eerily calm. There is cold sweat now all over your arms and over your brow. Your vision is blurred and slow to sharpen. You feel your father's grip loosen, shifting away to give you space as he kneels now beside you.
Do I remember what I've done?
Yes.
Okay.
Clear as day. You remember everything.
Gorm is very distraught. He has his weapons in his hand, and he's just like very sad expression, tears in his eyes.
No.
Oda, what are you doing? Oh, Gorm doesn't understand.
Oh, no.
Vargen, it takes you a few seconds to be sure, but after a moment you are certain the spell has come to an end.
He'll wait for a bit longer, just so she can have some time to herself to think if she feels she needs it, before he actually lets go.
Yeah, just to come to her senses a bit more.
Alright, you're back with us now.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oda starts to like struggle to get up from under Vargen and like move to Gorm's side.
Gorm doesn't know what Gorm did. He wanted to give you candy last night, but you weren't there, so Gorm couldn't give you candy.
You didn't do anything. I promise. I didn't want to hurt you. I did. I don't know what happened.
Gorm has another bag of candy you can have.
Oh, Gorm, I'm so sorry. It wasn't me, I promise.
But you, Oda.
Yes, I'm your friend. A moment ago, she just looks confused. Listen, Gorm, all I'm trying to say is, and she tries to very carefully move her hand towards him and hope he doesn't, like, flinch.
No, Gorm's very brave. He's fine.
I'm sorry. It was The Witcher. She did something to my head. It wasn't me, okay? I love you very much, Gorm.
Oh, she used big spell on Oda.
She did.
Oh, no, that's... Oh, and he just takes his mace and just like slams it down into her head.
So Gorm crushes in Astrid's face again with another mace swing, making it even less recognizable than it was when she fell. To note, though, guys, doing so also further damages the armor she's wearing on her head. So if that matters to any of you, of course, then...
Gorm, I appreciate you trying to improve her looks, but please stop.
No, but she used big spell on Oda. Gorm not like her.
She's dead.
Now go help other lady who got shot.
Right. And Oda gives Vargen a look of thank you before, just like a little kind of nod, before slowly moving towards the mage, seeing how she's holding up.
Abravar is resting where you left her, Oda, close to the bottom of the bridge, not far from the edge of the fog that she pushed back. She's wheezing. Her half-lidded eyes flicker as her hand presses against the wound on her collarbone. The arrow still firmly planted there.
We need to get her somewhere safe and quick so we can tend to her. This arrow needs to come out.
Back to the ship then.
Are you well enough to take her?
I can carry her, just give me a moment here. I'm gonna get my bow back.
Yeah, you can damn well get your bow back. This is the original masterpiece you made, the symbol of your station that was stolen from you. And it's beautiful. It's called Crow's Calling, and the bow is carved with the strongest wood of the Isles. Runes of the crow, of earth, air, and wind is etched into the limbs. And upon taking it, simply said, it fits your hand perfectly. So for our listeners then, what statistically stands out about this bow is that it has a +2 to weapon accuracy, its damage is a 4d6 +3, and its special ability is known as Keen Eye, and I'm going to read this out for you. Once per round, the wielder of this bow can expend 5 stamina and a single arrow to shoot any thrown or fired projectile passing within range out of the air.
Oh, wow.
Success is dependent on a contest of skill between the wielder and their opponent. Use of Keen Eye returns at the start of the wielder's turn, so that's once per round.
Very nice.
You know, actually, Gorm, whilst we're doing this then, would you be salvaging the equipment you find on Astrid?
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, in between smashing her face in again with your mace, you do happen to find some items of value. Naturally, considering her vocation, you find a pair of steel and silver swords. Each of these, might I add, have a neat little griffin statuette forged into their pommels. School of the Griffin. You find 2 ration, 30 crowns, and of course her rather impressive set of armour. Stripping her down, you would find that it's a full set of dark leather armour, with chainmail and steel strips reinforcing the shoulders, waist, and wrists. It's of exceptional craft, with 16 stopping power to all locations, and it naturally grants +5 HP and +10 stamina.
Oh, dear Lord in heaven.
And full fire resistance to the wearer. So make a note, please, that it also has 1 enhancement slot to all locations. That's a mighty set of armour.
Should we perhaps dispose of her body and nod to the Witchers? And then kind of like nod over the edge of the bridge?
Oh, yeah. Make it look like Drowner get her.
Oh, wow. So this is happening?
I mean, Gorm is already in action. He's like doing her best to drag her to the edge of the bridge or the side of the bridge.
So with her possessions in his possession, Gorm, you drag the witch's naked body, and by the ankle no less, over to the half-high walls of the bridge. And I guess like, you know, an amateur trying to stuff a body into something like the trunk of a car, Gorm, you're struggling to force her up and over. I have to ask. I have to. Is this what you all want?
I'd prefer to see her burned personally, but...
Oh, no, fish need to eat. And he just like makes the last push and throws it in.
The last thing you see of Astrid is her limp hands unintentionally waving freely as Gorm flings her over the side and into the murky, watery depths below. Only a second or two actually pass before the splash comes, and Gorm just dusts off his hands and picks up the armour and weapons he salvaged before beginning his triumphant, happy march back towards the settlement.
Well, if we're lucky, we'll find her on our way over to Pontar. Maybe there will be something left for you to burn.
And I guess then, to round up today's episode, Oda, you'd pick up your belongings, and Vargen, with Oda's assistance, you'd pick up Abrava.
Yeah, of course.
And you would follow after Gorm, who's heading back to the settlement. I mean, there's a lot to be talked about. There's stories to be told.
Yeah, you still owe me a story. I don't care if she's dead. I asked you about her one time.
Very true, actually. Yes, she did. Goodness gracious me, what a session. What have we all learned from this one?
Being a Witcher, it sounds cool. In practice, it's...
You just need to be aware about mercenary.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end of episode 15 of The Witcher, Chaos on the Pontar. So be sure to join us next time for more antics and adventures. Again, a massive thank you to everyone for showing their support, liking, subscribing, and listening to the podcast on our other platforms such as Pandora, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. That is all from us today. Until next time, bye-bye.